Hey y'all, what's up? Hey, I just parked my car and I'm on my way into pregame. We grabbed some coffee on the way. But I'm so excited to talk about this today because I'm in a weird place where I feel so kind of overwhelmed with all the things that I have to get done that I'm kind of almost paralyzed. And so let's talk about how to be productive when you're feeling completely frozen. But coffee first. Okay, so now that I have my coffee, we can be productive because that's key, man. You gotta have coffee, right? So that is actually my very first tip. When you are feeling super overwhelmed and you just cannot think, you're like frozen, and that's the kind of day I'm having, then the first thing to do is to change up your environment. Make sure you're somewhere where you can focus. So maybe you gotta go get some coffee. Maybe you gotta get a glass of water. Maybe you gotta go somewhere else, which is what I did, right? I opened my laptop this morning because I have a whole bunch of things I wanna get done. But before even thinking about it, I thought, well, I'm just gonna plan. I'm gonna set out my day. But I was just so overwhelmed. I couldn't even do that. Like I couldn't like focus on just a simple spreadsheet of listening to some of the things I want to get done, right? And so I decided instead to close my laptop, take a deep breath, and go somewhere where I can be a little bit more productive. You know where you can go. You know those places where you're the most productive, right? Go there, find a spot, make it happen, because you need to be in the right environment to be able to get the shit done you want to get done, right? And it has to be more that feels good. So for me, sometimes if it's just too cold, I'm like, I can't be here. It's too fucking cold. So I got to go somewhere else, right? So make sure you're somewhere where you're having fun and you're relaxed and you're feeling good in your body, right? You got to be there first and foremost. All right. So now that that's out of the way, now what do? Right? Because I personally am in a spot today where I have all these projects that I want to get done. So of course, the natural thing to say would be, okay, prioritize which one is most important. But I'm kind of at that point where I don't know which one is more important. I kind of don't have a clue. And I think that's why I was a little bit overwhelmed this morning, because I was looking at my list of things and I was like, there's way too many things. I don't know, and I don't know which one's more important. Is this one more important? Is this one more important? I don't know. Instead of writing down all the little details of all the little tasks, instead make a list of all the big projects without looking at all the little to-dos you have to do in those projects. Just really make a list of projects that you know you want to get done, because when you're in overwhelm, it's usually because you've got these multiple projects, and underneath those multiple projects are all the little to-dos, right? So write down the big list of the big projects. Then look at that list and look at it and say to yourself, which one feels best to get done today? Which one of these sounds the most fun to work on right now in this very moment? It might change in 10 minutes. Totally cool. But if you don't pick one, you're not going to discover which is the one you really need to be working on. It might be that one. But you just gotta pick one that feels good right now in this moment to work on and start working on it. Because what will happen is, if something else is nagging at you, if there's another project on that list that you think all of a sudden, oh my God, I need to get that other thing done because I have a deadline, right? That other thing is due in 2 days and I'm ignoring that thing that's gotta get done. The only way that you're that's really gonna come to light is if you start doing something. And so if you don't start doing anything, you're just gonna be frozen looking at your lists of things to do. So start working on one that feels right now. Then in 10 minutes, evaluate, is this something that I want to keep working on? Or do I need to switch to this other thing because it's been nagging at my brain, right? But what happens with your brain, actually science shows that once you start working on something, your brain wants to finish it. It actually wants to finish that task. So let me give you an example. When I was a kid, I took piano lessons. And one of the things that my parents always made me do was to sit down and practice for a half hour a day. And sometimes I really kind of resented that. I was like, I really hated it because I wasn't in the mood to play the piano, right? And other days, I was just into it and I would play way past that half hour, right? Well, later on in life, I started working for a radio station. And one of the things that would happen a lot at the radio station, which was a really cool little side benefit, is musicians would come in, especially if they weren't as well known, so they were like a newer musician. They would come in and they would play for the radio stations. They wanted to kind of show off for the program director, so that way we would play their music more often. And so all of the employees at the radio station got to come and listen to them play live. It was like a little mini concert. And so anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is one time there was this musician that came in, and he was a really big advocate for taking music lessons. And he was encouraging all of us to play music ourselves, as well as like encourage our children to play music. I thought it was a really cool, because we don't always hear musicians talking about this. So the point is, he said, the key is like, don't overly pressure your kids to practice for too long. Just tell them they need to practice for 10 minutes a day. They just need to sit down, practice for 10 minutes, and then they can be done. He said, but 90% of the time, what will happen is you'll want to keep playing because you're into it and your brain wants to finish the task, right? And especially if you're really enjoying it, then you'll know that this is something you want to continue. If you're really having a good time and you want to keep playing after 10 minutes, then you know that you should keep taking lessons. So the whole idea is, once you start, you're probably going to continue. So just get started for something, for 10 minutes, just pick one thing. And if you're not having fun at it anymore, or your brain is going somewhere else, then put it down and start a new task. So just be aware though, like as you're starting to work on that one thing, if something else is nagging at you, you can always come back and finish that, but that other thing might be more important. So in 10 minutes, really evaluate, do I want to keep working on this one thing? Do I need to push past this, like maybe resistance of this one thing? Or is this other thing really more important right now and I can come back to this, right? If you need to switch, but this time commit. Commit to continue to work on whatever that is you're switching to, or the thing you're already working on now. Commit to working on it for at least a half hour. Now, studies also show that if you're working on something for about an hour and a half, that is a really good time to really focus in on one project, like on a concentrated effort. You're working on this one thing for an hour and a half. Now, one of the things I often do is I use the Pomodoro Technique, which is when you do something for 20 minutes and take a break, and then you do something else for 20 minutes and take a break, right? Which is a really great way to do it. But just say to yourself, okay, for an hour and a half, I'm gonna do this, whatever task it is you finally decide on, and then you can still take little breaks in between, but you're gonna focus at least for 20 minutes within that 90-minute period. And then you can evaluate after that 90-minute period, okay, now, do I wanna keep working on this one project, or do I wanna switch to something else? Because maybe you wanna make a project on another project that's a priority for you, then make sure you take a break in between that's significant enough. So you get yourself a meal, or you go for a walk around the block, or something like that. But that is really the way. I mean, you could even just do some sit-ups or do something fun, like watch a TV show for 20 minutes, for God's sakes. Get your mind off of like that, because then what will happen is you'll have enough rest and enough time to come back to get some more stuff done that's really, really important. When I am encouraging you to pick the thing that feels best, I'm not encouraging you to like pick something that's actually not productive, right? What I'm saying is, like, you have all these things you want to get done, and they're all really important, and you can't choose between them, right? So pick the one that feels best right now, because that's the thing that's going to be more naturally for you to get into and get into that workflow, right? I'm not saying like, hey, procrastinate for another 10 minutes and like go watch Netflix now. No, what I'm saying is get into the thing that you know is really important, but it's of all the choices you have, because you can't seem to prioritize, choose the one that feels best right now, because that will be easier for you to just get in that flow of working. And then once you are in that flow of working, then it will be easier for you to understand, oh, do I need to switch to this thing, or do I need to keep doing this one thing I've already decided is like feels best. Also, one other little tip is that one of the things that we tend to do as human beings is we tend to work on the thing that we think is like the most important thing, that because we have a deadline coming up. This happens to me all the time. I have like maybe something that I know I want to get done because I know it's due in 2 days. But I have this other thing that's actually more important for my business. It's actually more important for my personal goals, but I will often not do it because I've got this other thing that's due in 2 days. And so I tend to procrastinate that other thing. I make it last on the priority list, right? So be careful when you're looking at your list that you're not completely ignoring those things that maybe are going to take a longer time to get done, but they actually are more important. It's just the payoff isn't as immediate because you don't feel that emergency. So really, really look at perhaps maybe how you can do both, get done in your deadline, but also still make progress towards that long-term goal every single day. And one of the things that I have found is a lot of times that thing that is going to be a longer term payoff is actually the thing that feels better. Like, it's usually the thing that I actually want to do more. It's just that I don't do it because I've got this other thing that's due in 2 days. But you gotta do both. And so sometimes if you can just start doing that thing that's going to take a little bit longer and it's a little bit more fun, once you just start doing it, it feels natural to like start doing that every single day. And if you just get in the groove of doing a little bit of that every day, then that's okay, because even if you were to only work 10 minutes a day on that longer term goal, it's better than not at all, right? It's better than choosing the thing that's due tomorrow or due in 3 days and never making progress towards your more important goals. So that is how you get past that stage of feeling frozen and overwhelmed. And since that's where I'm at, I'm gonna go do that right now. I'm gonna make my list of things to do, and I am gonna do the thing that feels good for 10 minutes. I'll let you know how it goes in the comments below. And I wanna know what you're gonna do for 10 minutes. Let me know in the comments below if you are feeling frozen and overwhelmed. What's the thing that you decided you wanna get done and you're gonna work on it just for 10 minutes? Just gonna get started for 10 minutes. I wanna know, let me know in the comments below. And if you have any ideas of how to be more productive when you're feeling paralyzed and frozen, love to know that too. Let me know. And I would love if you subscribe to my channel. And remember that you're never too much. Just be you so much. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you guys next time.